Believe it or not, the fact that people are paying millions of dollars for a simple ape JPEG will change the way you pay for things in the next 5 years. More than 10 years ago, an unknown genius named Satoshi Nakamoto published a white paper about a new form of currency called Bitcoin. Although it was easily dismissed by the public early on as a joke when it was below $5 per Bitcoin. Now, with it reaching all-time high prices of $63,000, it's safe to say that what was once overlooked as a viable option is sparking the curiosity of the most notable investors and institutions worldwide to store their assets long-term. Now, in 2022, every single day, thousands and thousands of cryptocurrencies are making their way into the mainstream market. So, the idea of cryptocurrencies replacing physical money isn't all that far-fetched anymore. But is it really that easy? Welcome to our channel, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button to let the algorithm know you are curious about learning more about these topics. Stick around because in this video, we'll be taking a look at the shocking reality behind mass crypto adoption and how it may change the way you perceive and transact with money in the next decade, and how you may be able to buy a house with your Dogecoin. Over the years, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and countless others have soared in terms of monetary value. What was first an underground and sketchy computer-based technology that was used to carry out shady transactions in the deepest corners of the internet is now a widely used form of payment backed by financial institutions such as Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and even PayPal. This upward trajectory started in 2020 when crypto prices started their meteoric rise and investors earned 10 times, 100 times, or even 1,000 times their money by simply investing their money in crypto. Today, there are more than 2,000 cryptocurrencies in the market, showing just how fluid this space really is and how fast it's growing. But with all these random dog and cat coins flooding the market, is that actually moving us towards mass adoption? Well, the answer is yes and no. The truth is that we still have a bit of a way to go before mass crypto adoption becomes a reality. Today, only 3.5% of the population are utilizing crypto. And while it's true that the first few steps such as awareness and hyper-innovation have already kicked off, with the third one being institutional adoption that's now in full gear, it's a little difficult to point out the exact timeline of the crypto takeover. Financial experts believe that mass adoption is now a question of when rather than if. So if you're still one of the skeptics who argues with your uncle at Sunday dinner that this is all a big Ponzi, is now the time for you to give in? Well, here is where things get interesting. The truth is that the general public just doesn't seem to be warming up to this alternative form of currency. Why is that? Well, the simple answer is instability. While blockchain technology has enjoyed a lot of hype in recent years, despite the COVID-19 pandemic, if there's one problem that cryptocurrency hasn't been able to tackle, it's volatility. Anyone who knows anything about cryptocurrency knows that one of the largest barriers to mainstream adoption is the fact that the prices for this form of money are always changing. We all know someone who went from an overnight crypto millionaire to now moving into their mom's basement because they refused to sell at the top and are now left with a bag of Doge 70% down from when they invested. The OG cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, along with others, comes with a fixed total supply. Now, when the demand or the hype around these coins rises, their price goes up, and when the demand goes down, so does the price. And while it's pretty simple to understand, the prices fluctuate so much that institutions just don't want to take the risk of adopting crypto as a mainstream form of currency. With current market value being around speculation of whether or not Elon will tweet about your coin you're holding, it may be difficult to cut through the noise. Can you imagine what the board meeting would look like with banks having to explain all of that when things start going south? And this problem isn't new. Any currency in the world needs to be somewhat stable for it to be adopted on a mass scale. The more the price skyrockets and then plummets, the less people are going to be able to rely on it as a form of money. So even people who invest in crypto either end up hoarding the coins, hoping that their prices will go up without understanding the utility, or they just give up on using them altogether. For now, it's still mostly being looked at as this digital gold coin thing, where you put your savings in and hopefully be able to buy a Lambo in 3 to 6 days. At the same time, when it comes to conversion, Bitcoin ATMs can charge up to 15% just to convert the money into fiat currency, which brings up another issue the masses aren't a fan of, being taxed. So, with all of these obstacles standing in the way of mass crypto adoption, the question is, how do we overcome them? The first step here is the formation of a solid foundation and an ecosystem where these volatile currencies can find some sort of stability. This can only be done by finding ways to predict demand for coins, which is the primary reason behind all the price fluctuations. Now, usually, this would be done through a central bank where the government would alter the money supply depending on inflation. In the modern-day economy, the reason why people trust fiat currency is that it's backed by central banks. Now, when you move over to crypto, instead of being backed by governments, this currency is backed by all the participants on the ledger, known as miners. Nope, not young people, but actual computer nodes. But the very idea of cryptocurrencies is the fact that they are decentralized and function without the need of a central bank. So the solution here can get a little tricky if you want to keep the prices stable in the short term, while also not compromising the freedom of the users. At the same time, tons of financial experts have agreed on the fact that cryptocurrency as it stands today just isn't scalable. Consider this. For Bitcoin to be used as a mainstream form of currency all over the world, the blockchain would have to process millions of transactions every day, with thousands of them happening at the same time. If you compare this with, let's say, the Visa card system, which handles around 4,000 transactions per second, with the ability to handle around 47,000 maximum. Now, Bitcoin simply can't handle this many transactions because right now, it takes 10 minutes for the technology to generate a new block on the Bitcoin blockchain. Not to mention the fact that this mysterious dude/dudette Satoshi Nakamoto also created a finite number of coins and then put size limitations on them so no block can exceed 10 megabytes. So, in short, the time it takes to put a transaction on the crypto ledger is the reason why scalability is going to be a problem when you consider mass adoption, because the verification process of each transaction has to go through several miners who then input all the data in the blocks. But here's the problem. The more popular a cryptocurrency becomes, the more time-consuming the transactions are because of the number of people on the ledger. Coins like Ethereum and Bitcoin are already going through this crisis, which is why, despite their popularity and mainstream use, mass adoption is still a big question. Now, the question of Bitcoin popularity is pretty fascinating, with non-utility coins like Dogecoin giving rise to a new era of currency called meme coins. Who knows, all of those hours surfing on TikTok and Instagram might have been worth it after all. But jokes aside, another reason why mass adoption is going to be a challenge for the crypto industry is the fact that as lucrative as blockchain is, it's still a technology that's foreign to most people in the world. This has led to a huge skills gap in the industry where there just aren't enough people that can understand and operate the blockchain that's necessary to the functioning of these crypto coins. And sadly, this has also led to an extremely competitive market for blockchain engineers, with the demand going up by more than 500% since 2019, which means if you are a developer, you should start advocating for the crypto takeover right about now. Another reason why mass adoption of cryptocurrencies is a problem is because of their past association with the dark web. As we talked about before, Bitcoin was initially used by people on the dark web to make all kinds of illegal transactions. Because cryptocurrency offers people the advantages of anonymity, there is a lot of room for the technology to be used for all the wrong purposes, even if it's not its intended purpose. Take for example that with all these eyes on Bitcoin, no one has yet to identify Satoshi as the founder of Bitcoin. Seems pretty odd, right? Currently, Bitcoin's use in illegal marketplaces is resulting in transactions of more than $1 billion. And even if one marketplace is taken down, tons of others pop up in its place, and there's really no way to regulate any of it. To make things worse, in 2018, German researchers found about 16,000 files stored on the Bitcoin blockchain that included links to inappropriate images and links which showed just how easy it was to add illegal content to blockchain ledgers, simply because the moderation wasn't strong enough. Because of all of these concerns, some countries like China have actually enforced bans on all kinds of crypto trading to try and limit the use of these coins, which of course is an obstacle to cross if we are going to move towards mass adoption. The reason why some countries have been reluctant to adopt crypto as a form of currency is that they just don't understand the technology well enough to draft suitable regulation laws. But you know what they say, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em. And maybe that's why China has actually announced plans to launch their very own digital yen so they don't fall behind in the race. On the other hand, countries like Malta have also started to create actual legal frameworks to support and boost the crypto industry instead of using up resources to develop their own coins. However, this has led us to the problem of private blockchains that corporations can use to keep certain data from the public. And if large-scale financial institutions and banks become a part of these private blockchains, any sort of data that they might have on their users can be tampered with or mishandled simply because the blockchain gives them the rights to that data. Sort of like how the Zuck's Facebook can sell all your data to advertisers, but only much worse. So if cryptocurrencies were to go mainstream, an important step would be to make sure that the giant corporations don't end up creating their private blockchains to hide data and breach customer transparency. According to current statistics, around $9 million are lost every day in the form of cryptocurrency scams, or otherwise called rug pulls. If you are scrolling on crypto Twitter for about 2 minutes, you'll see exactly what I mean. Where a promise of utility or value is given to the holders of a coin, only for the liquidity, aka the money, in the project to be taken away and vanished in seconds. And because crypto payments can only be traced to a wallet address and not an identity, there is essentially no security system in place for customer protection. However, you best believe more regulations will be brought in as demand grows. I mean, it can't be the Wild West here forever, guys. Eventually, things need to be civilized. Even if you ignore all of these concerns, the digital divide in the world is way too big for cryptocurrencies to be adopted on a mass scale as it stands today. The thing about cryptocurrency is that it's an entirely digital form of payment. And while it's true that with modern technological revolutions, switching to digital financial systems is inevitable. But even then, the kind of technology that it will take for crypto to be mass adopted is completely absent in half the world, especially when it comes to developing countries that don't even have access to high-speed internet. Can you imagine trying to mine Bitcoin and your Wi-Fi connection dies out? But it's important to keep in mind that we're still in the infancy stages of the crypto revolution, and despite all of these problems, every passing year sees new developments within the market that leads experts to believe that there is room for tons of growth in the crypto space. Crypto enthusiasts are also extremely hopeful with the integration of blockchain technology within traditional finance through networks such as Visa and MasterCard in 2021. At the same time, several banks have announced the development of their very own digital tokens, which just goes to show the potential that cryptocurrency holds when it comes to mass adoption. But before we make that jump, it's important to build a better experience for crypto transactions in collaboration with world governments to make sure that a basic level of technological literacy will be enough for people to start using cryptocurrencies, just like how we can mindlessly swipe our credit cards and realize how much we actually spent when the bill comes at the end of the month. With that said, it just wouldn't be realistic to not consider these barriers before we start talking about mass crypto adoption. As with every new technology, cryptocurrency still has a long way to go before it can hope to replace traditional fiat currency as an everyday mode of payment. That's a wrap for the shocking reality behind mass crypto adoption. Do you think the world is ready for a crypto takeover? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more. See you next time. Until then, bye.